All right, this is exciting. We are on the last portion of On the River Gran among the Quadi. So this has been quite a fun little chapter here. So with that said, though, let's get into it. So December 17. So this one, he has it kind of, I don't know if you can see this, but it's broken down into kind of these just little points, and right before he actually gets into speaking. So here we go. Human life, duration, momentary, nature, changeable, perception, dim, condition of body, decaying, soul, spinning around, fortune, unpredictable, lasting fame, uncertain. Sum up. The body and its parts are a river, the soul a dream and mist, a dream and mist. Life is warfare and a journey far from home. Lasting reputation is oblivion. Then he asks, then what can guide us? Only philosophy. Which means making sure that the power within stays safe and free from assault, superior to pleasure and pain, doing nothing randomly or dishonestly and with imposture, not dependent on anyone else's doing something or not doing it, and making sure that it accepts what happens and what it is dealt as coming from the same place it came from, and above all, that it accepts death in a cheerful spirit as nothing but the dissolution of the elements from which each living thing is composed. If it doesn't hurt the individual elements to change continually into one another, why are people afraid of all of them changing and separating? It's a natural thing, and nothing natural is evil. So let's pick into this a bit. I'm just going to start with his sum up here. The body and its parts are a river, the soul a dream and mist. Life is warfare and a journey far from home. Lasting reputation is oblivion. So, yeah, the body and kind of the more physical aspect of who we are. It's ever changing. It's ever changing, and it's kind of going to a final destination, either a great lake or an ocean, where then it becomes one with everything else. And so I think what he's saying here is, it can start fresh and brand new up in the glacial little springs and streams that then eventually become a more prominent and forceful river. But eventually it's gone and it's fleeting, and you can never really step in the same river twice, I think is what he's getting at. The soul is a dream and mist. So, yeah, who we are, who I am, who you are, it's changing and it's confusing, and there's going to be things there that we don't really get or understand and never will about ourselves and about other people and reality. But nonetheless, it's kind of fun to be here and experience some of these moments, even if they're fleeting or just a flash in the pan. Exciting moments that kind of happen now and then. Life is warfare and a journey far from home. So he's just saying here, I think, that to be alive and to constantly be, doing the activities of daily living, eating, drinking water, exercising, socializing, going to work, being productive, all these things. It's not necessarily warfare, but it takes effort to participate in life, and it's a journey, and it's he's saying home here is just kind of the oblivion that existed before we were here and the one afterward. And so that is home, and that is the normal state of everybody, whatever's on the other side of that veil. And so, while we're here, we're not there, and we're there a lot longer than we're here. So that should be considered the home, not where we are now. And then lasting reputation is oblivion. Yeah, I'm trying to think, because it's kind of like oblivion is just nothingness. Pretty sure. I'll do a quick Google. Like, it's just nothing and desolate, and everything's smashed up and gone. Oblivion. The act of. Oh wait, no, that's a. Okay, here we go. The state of being unaware or unconscious of what is happening. Okay. So it's not destruction and such. Lasting reputation is. So I guess, if something's a lasting reputation, it's unaware of everything else that's going on. And it either means that, by the definition of a lasting reputation, it outlasts the life, is what and so it's unaware that perhaps the reputation, the reputation itself is unaware that what it is representing may be gone, so it's oblivious to it. Or it's also saying, or maybe saying both things at the same time, that the person who's since passed has likely no idea if they do have a lasting reputation, and so what was the point, or what really does it matter to them if they have a lasting reputation, if they can't interpret it or perceive it? That's what it sounds like he's getting at. So what he's saying here then, so what can guide us? What are we left with? Our bodies are decaying, just our mind and our soul are changing and spontaneous and wrought with emotions and thoughts, like good and bad, and we're just trying our best here. And then it takes all this work to be alive and to enjoy ourselves and participate in life, and then at the end of the day, what's it all for? We don't really get to experience our reputation once we're gone, or and such. So what can guide us? Only philosophy, Marcus believes. And so what is philosophy? Only what you believe, what you decide is what can guide you. Which means making sure that the power within stays safe and free from assault. So these things that inspire you, your nature, your energy levels to then act and influence based on your beliefs and nature. It stays free from assault. So he's saying, distractions, things that get in the way, and again, everything that he says here isn't, being like a stone cold person without some flexibility, but he's saying, most of the time, don't be distracted, whether it's, and you be superior to pleasure and pain. So despite, and again, it's easier said than done, but despite opportunities for pleasure all the time, or if pain haunts you frequently or all the time, to do your best to stay on top of it and still be you. Doing nothing randomly or dishonestly and without imposture. So again, here he's just saying, be intentional, be truthful, both to yourself and to other people. not dependent on anyone else's doing something or not doing it. So I disagree a little bit here. Without the help of other people, there's things I would never be able to get done. I suppose I could. I would just be a matter of how long I would want to dedicate in my interests. And so, yeah, I would much rather opt to have other people do things that I care to have done, for the most part. And then I do what I like to do and what's in my nature, and they do what they like to do and what's in their nature. But I think he's really, like, if something's really important to you and it's in your nature that you want to be doing it, I think is probably where he's getting at here. So don't let someone else do work that you want to be doing. And making sure that it accepts what happens and what it is dealt as coming from the same place it came from. So accepts what's happening. So just, I think, he's kind of doing a little bit of a summary here, really, for the whole chapter, for the whole book too. That, all these things are natural, and fate and destiny for everybody come from the same place, whether you consider it good or bad luck. You're having some luck. So that it's not that the whole world is against you when something bad's happened, and it's not that you're king of the world when good things are happening. To be more level-headed and accepting that you're going to have good and bad strokes of luck and fortune at times. And above all, that it accepts death in a cheerful spirit. It's nothing but the dissolution of the elements from which each living thing is composed. So again, this is something we all must come to accept one way or another at some point in our lives. And again, as I've put on different videos, I'm not yet too accepting of death. I know what'll happen. I want to live a fun and fulfilling life. But I know it's coming for me one day, and I'd definitely rather die cheerfully and accepting and ready for the next adventure on the other side than spend my last moments in fear and in a panic state. I know that to be true for me. So I'll try and work on how, I know what I'd like, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that one yet, so we'll have to get there, hopefully. If it doesn't hurt the individual elements to change continually into one another, why are people afraid of all them changing and separating? It's a natural thing. Nothing natural is evil. So this is just really a statement, kind of hoping to, I think, provide some calm and ease people into being more accepting of death as a natural state of life. And I can make it makes perfect sense. Nobody would disagree with that. The leaves fall off the trees, and the tree falls over and rots, and then the new trees, the fungi get at it and the bacteria, and then one day all of a sudden there's a part of the tree that's still a rotting tree, and then there's a part of the tree below ground that's turned into soil, and other things are feeding off it, and the atoms are just recycled or recycled. And so I can understand that perfectly well. But I don't know too many people who, if you said this to someone when someone very close to them had passed away or was about to pass away, I don't think it would be that comforting. I think it'd be, rather blunt and a bit too logical. But it'd probably be more so something for the person themselves that's passing away to kind of grasp onto this philosophy, not so much their loved ones. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but in that way it is comforting, just to know that it's like the natural part of it, and it's that person's time to have it done to them. But again, it's really hard to conceptualize it, because I would plan to be here for a long time, and I don't know how my brain and hormones are going to change as I age to eventually be more accepting of this. And it's something, though, I think if someone had a loved one pass, if they read this the day that it happened, or in the strong period of the grieving process, I don't think they'd really care to hear it. But perhaps in months and months go by, or a year or two, and the emotions have had the edges shaved off to a degree, that's when seeing something like this, I think, could help somebody and kind of bring them to just a place of more acceptance, more understanding, and that it is true that these things happen, and it's what we do with our time left that's what really matters. And how are you going to change some atoms, in your memory of how those old atoms were arranged and how they influenced you? How are you now going to influence others and other atoms on this earth? But with that said, though, that was an excellent summary. I was kind of thinking if I was going to have to do a summary of this chapter, and I was like, geez, but he did it for me, so thank you, Marcus Aurelius. Great. The next book will start probably sometime next week. Book 3. Great. Thank you.